Mr. X here, very special and rare piece coming at you that you can only see today. Man, that could be a good pickup line. Welcome to the Extreme Channel. Today we're looking at another Court of the Dead piece by Sideshow Collectibles. Court of the Dead is their own license about the underworld. And if you've been watching the channel lately, you know this is actually the fifth piece we've actually reviewed from that line. Most recently, it was this Kier Death's Warbringer you can actually check out right here. To check out some of the other ones, make sure you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell notification. But this is SHARD, and Sideshow actually made three different versions of SHARD. This is the most rare one. Now, SHARD's a little bit different story. All these other pieces we've been looking at are characters from the afterlife or the underworld. SHARD was part of the Knights Templar and actually a human, essentially, but was able to get into the underworld. Now, this particular version of her is kind of her evil version, some people may say. Now, she's not evil to the core. She kind of delivers truth and justice, but she's kind of been ghostified or Court of the Deadified or whatever you want to call it. The original versions we'll look at later in this review because that's what we're doing today. We're doing an extreme review on this really rare piece that I love to have in my collection. And the other versions that we're going to talk about, I don't think I would have bought them. This is the only one I wanted. However, as I was downloading pictures for those, they were pretty decent as well. Now, before we dive into the specifics of this, check this out. Thank you to you guys. We're giving away these two exclusive Mortal Kombat statues from Pop Culture Shock Toys. We've already given away this Sub-Zero. It's being shipped to the winner of the 15,000 sub giveaway. Up for grabs at 17,500 subs is this exclusive Scorpion statue. First thing you need to do is make sure you've liked this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification. Second thing is we're going to pick random videos. This is one of those random videos, and insert this segment somewhere. You need to make sure you comment on that video. We are going to pick a random comment from one of said videos, and you will be the winner of this Scorpion statue. All right, so first thing we're going to look at today is concept. And if you've watched these pieces, you know that I love the concepts, especially the bases, because they're significantly different, but they follow a similar theme, so they work really well together. And that's no exception here. So on the bottom, you have what I would call almost a broken type sub base. It has religious symbols around it, kind of shows her as I'm that person that punishes bad because bad is bad, good is good, no matter where your heritage is from. But it's broken, and on top of it you have some skulls, and you have some skulls all over on the front, in the back, and then on top of that is almost like steps. Maybe she's walking down to the underworld, and it has these blue highlights everywhere, which is very similar to all the bases. She is fully armored up because she's a warrior, because that's what she does. She dispenses justice. So she's walking down. One thing you're going to notice on mine as you move up, she is not displaying her cape. This comes with an optional cape I'm not a fan of. We'll talk more about that in design. But she's very serious, very stoic. She's on a mission. And I think that's especially true with this version of her because, like I said, she's been kind of Court of the Dead sized or whatever you want to call it. This is all that she's about now. She's part of this world. She's a warrior. This is what she does. She's a badass. Her hair's flowing a little bit in the wind like she is walking down those steps to do whatever it is she's going to do in the underworld or in Death's Kingdom. And I just like how badass and stoic she is, especially when you think of some of the storyline that, hey, she was a human that actually can hang with these creatures who live in the afterlife. So I love it. I think it's a fantastic representation of her. I think it tells her story very well. Even if you didn't know her story, she just looks badass to the core, and a lot of cool things going in such a simple statue. So I think the concept on this is a 4 out of 5 on the extreme scale today. It's a rail. It's done very, very well. Now design, not a lot of display options. As I said, there's some different versions of her, so let's look at that first. Right here's the other version of her that this was the variant of. So a lot of similar things, has the displayable cape, but from my understanding, most of it is the same other than some colors and a few other minor changes. Now here's another version you can buy where she's more of a holier than thou. You kind of almost feel like she's fighting for good in this one. And other than being able to display with and without the cape you saw, that's really the only display options on this. But I'm not a big guy on switch outs anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. Now, because this was a variant, so a variant is where they make an original run, then they decide to make another run and change stuff up. There are no exclusive or collectors. This is just what it is. It is 1/4 scale, or premium format as Sideshow calls it. And as you can see, she doesn't take up a lot of room. Tallest point is right at a little over 22.5 inches. The base diameter is 7, And then the swords stick out another 5 or 6 inches on each side. So very compact, which again, I say this all the time, as collectors, space is our enemy, so I love that. The only negative I would say is some of this cool skull stuff and all this going on back here, some symbols you'll see during paint and sculpt, you can't see when she's facing forward. I'd say that's really the only negative. I put her together so long ago, but the base is one piece, she's one piece, her portrait, and then her arms come off. So very easy assembly, everything fits really well together. So I think the design is also a 4 out of 5. It's simplistic, yet done well, and there are really no flaws in it. Now let's look at the paint and sculpt, and I really like this piece. I think it's actually better than the last 2 pieces we did, but you can see for yourself. All right, so let's dive into Shard here. And one of the things, you know, like I said, it's interesting how monotonous it could be because there are so many dark colors, but I think they did a good job contrasting them. For example, on the base here, you see almost kind of a green copper tone mixed in with it. And I'm not talking about the blue aquamarine stuff up here. And that, as we talked about, it's a little bit different color than the other bases, but I like how they have all the different religious symbols on the bottom. And then all these skulls right above it. And the only shame of this, like I said, is they're in the back, but they look fantastic. I think they did a great job with the concrete. You have some more symbols kind of hidden in there with that blue paint mixed in, but it looks like real concrete, so very solid sculpt, and I think the paint complements it well. Now her armor looks good, not amazing. She's fighting in high heels because that's what girls do. Or platform shoes, I should more say. But you see the armor throughout. So this one, she's not showing the skin like you saw on Kier a few days ago. But I like it. It's kind of this detailed outfit. There's not a ton of intricate detail, but there's definitely some patternized stuff going on. Then her belt down here also, you know, covers up her area with the skull in case someone tried to kick her there for whatever reason. This pattern part 2 right here, and I don't know if this is her skin or armor. I assume it's some kind of clothing or skin on the back, but again, it adds that good contrast. So do all these little pieces right here. It really breaks up the monotony of those dull, dark colors, which can be tough, but it's kind of who the character is, as we said. Some more skulls, and again, that's very evident in any Court of the Dead pieces. And even see some on her blade here, kind of made out of bone. That's kind of cool. It is not metal. And this sword definitely could have looked better. Doesn't have the greatest shine to it. It's okay if it's dull, but it does not look like metal at all. So I think that's a little bit of miss. And then almost the same bone type structure that you see in the sword, you see around her sides right here. Whether it's, you know, ornate decoration or whatever, and then the dagger and the star or whatever that is on her chest. But what I really love about this piece is the portrait. Her stoic expression, how badass. And again, I love this variant. The color, I don't think it makes it too dark overall. It looks fantastic. I think the sculpt on the hair is awesome. The flow of it, that blue color, it just flows really well with the entire statue. And then her expression, little scar around her eye, faded out eyes, looks really good. Like I said, I don't think I would have bought this if it was just the regular version, but the variant here is a for sure buy. So like I said, I actually think I like it a lot better than those last 2 pieces. I don't think it's exceptional by any means, but it's hard with so much monotony in it. I almost want to rate this a 4 in both the paint and sculpt, but I'm really on the border between a 3 and a 4. While I think it's better than those last 2 pieces, I think it's still a solid 3 for both the paint and the sculpt on this. We're grouping those together. Value. So like I said, they only made 100 of this piece. She retailed at $5.25. You can check out Sideshow's website for the other pieces because I believe they're still available. I think they retailed around $500, and I would speculate the ES is $1,000 to $1,500. But for $525, I paid for her on the aftermarket. I paid right at $600. Like I said, they only made 100 of her. Even at that price, I don't think it's bad, but I think the value is very good. $525 for an ES of 100 of a cool looking character that's done pretty well. So I think that's a 4 out of 5 on the value for this specific variant piece. Does this statue have the X factor? Is it a 5 out of 5? You know, because I don't have that big of attachment to the character, it's not, but I think it almost could be. If you were really into this Court of the Deadline, I could see you giving it that score, or myself giving it that score. But I think 4 out of 5 is definitely a good score for this variant piece. Really digging it. It is probably my favorite of all of them, even though I got a reinvigoration from reviewing that Kier. There's something about her, and I think it's the portrait I really love about this. So let me know in the comments which one of those I've reviewed that you've liked best, and go ahead and check those out if you haven't. There's some other videos here you can check as well. But most importantly, if you haven't, hit that Mr. X logo so you can subscribe. We drop daily content. Hit that bell notification so you get notified. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Take care.